Hello, Dave. First on this week, I noticed. Let me just adjust the camera a bit. Yeah, that's a bit better. Hope you can all hear me loud and clear. Gary Webb, hiya mate, how are you? And Dave Cullen from Dublin. Oh, nice to greet one of our Celtic brethren. Wonder what the weather's like in Dublin. God, blimey, what a weekend we've had. Saturday wasn't bad, but Sunday, God, blimey, you see my vlog. Anyway, just give it a couple of minutes, get a few other guys on you. Just finish my coffee. Yeah, just talking about Dublin and Ireland. I remember when we were fishing, Holland it was, Holland, fishing the canals and fishing with the Irish lads. And in fact, I'm just making a couple of these. I don't know if you've seen these before, if anyone knows what these are. Got a couple of making. Yeah. Basically, they're plummets. Yeah, Kevin, nice to see you. What do you think of the lock-sized wagglers? Looks to me like they would make slider-style fishing easy. Yeah, I suppose they would. They're not a new thing, by the way. They've been out for a while then, but yeah. Apparently, they locked on it when you slide them. Yeah, a little bit like, I can remember a couple of years ago, I did try them, but you're almost ledgering with them anyway. You can't get the dead depth. Hiya, Neil Smith. Nice to see you. Nice to see you on you. Anyway, so these plummets, basically, we were. I remember we were fishing Holland and we were plumbing the depth on a canal, and it's quite rocky. And what happened? The plummets get stuck in between the rocks sometimes, and you pull it, and of course you lose your plummet, and and sometimes your hook length. So they devised these little plummets. Now these are small ones, but basically it's a bit of lead wrapped around a bit of sponge, and all you do is put the hook into the sponge, and then that acts as your plummet. And if it does get stuck between the rocks, you can pull it, and all your rig comes away, including your hook. And all you've lost is a little plummet, which only costs pennies to produce. So I've just made a couple now, because when I fished on Saturday on the Severn, it was a bit of a rocky bottom there, and I hooked up once or twice. So there we are. Little tip there, boys. So there we are. Nice little cheap way of making plummets. As I say, it's just a strip of lead, bend it round a bit of sponge, and you can get different weights. And obviously, how much are plummets these days? Over £1, aren't they? So there we are. You'll probably make 10 or more with that. Anyway, okay. Oh, Gary Adams, nice to see you. You love my blogs? Well, we call them vlogs, Gary, only because blogs are when you write and vlogs is when you film. So there. Paul Chapman, hiya, Paul. Nice to see you again. Mr. Branson, is it? Okay. Barry Davis, hiya, mate. Evening, Clive. My grandmate arrived today. Oh, good. Yeah, I did notice it. Many thanks. Over there at the dock yesterday. I'm glad I gave it a miss. Yeah, don't bloody blame you, to be honest with you. Kevin Rogers, yeah, Clive, you're on. You got an echo going. Oh, hello. All right. Well, if anyone else got that problem, let me know, and I'll try and change it. Andrew Gard, nice to see you. Clive, that was tough. Yes. Yeah, you're right. Well, I'll talk about that in a minute. John Dunkley, evening, mate. How are you? Nice to see you on you. Right, yeah, it's nice to see quite a few on you very early this week, which is good, Right, you're wondering why I'm wearing my hat. I'll tell you why. Bloody gone. Look, the hair's gone. This will tell you, lads, right? I actually, sometimes cheap don't always work. I seen the local advert, come and get your free haircut. So I thought, yeah, well, it needs a bit of a trim, like, especially the fact that I'll be going to Thailand shortly. Anyway, it was a free haircut by trainees. I thought, oh yeah, I'll go along and so I joined the queue, went in, and I said, I'll have it short on the top and sides, please. Oh, okay, you sure? She said, yeah. Anyway, she got the the trimmer, and she went zip. I said, shit. I said that's. I said, oh well, you might as well bloody finish it, because anyway, I don't know. But I tell you, I was feeling a bit chilly now because the weather, bloody, it's cold today, wasn't it? And yesterday, when I was doing that bit of fishing. So I keep the hat on, keep it warm. People recognize you with my hat on anyway. Well, there you are. John, yeah, I said that. Neil Smith, just down fishing on the lower seven at Seven Stokes River, nearly into the field, is it? I thought it might have dropped by now. And you think you had it bad at Bewdley? Yeah, I thought I did. He was coming up then. No, he's just starting to come up. That's a good thing about that, Neil. Basically, the Y can come up and go down. I had a message from one of the guys, a friend of mine. He said he's fishing the Y. He's had a couple of arbel, and he said it's perfect. But then he's probably come up overnight with a bit of rain we've had. So, as I say, it's more of a spate river, the Y, than the Severn. Neil, bloody hell, Clive, your haircut makes you 10 years younger. Thanks, mate. I appreciate that. Michael Newton, hi, mate. Favorite species to catch, and what is your biggest ever match weight? Right. My favorite species is got to be roach. Roach, basically because I think when you first start fishing when you're young, you either catch a perch or a roach, and mine was a roach. So I've always stuck with a roach, and it's nice, roach of a canny little fish, the canny fish, and sometimes you've got to get it dead right to catch, roach, and sometimes you can bag up on them. Although my biggest match weight, 133 pound of bream on the waggler in 3 hours. That's my best. I've had a few. No, don't say that. River Ban, I had 144. Roach on a pole to hand and 133 pound. And I got beat by a guy named Sean Foy. Brilliant angler in them days he was. I don't know whatever happened to Sean. But that was on the River Ban. So yeah, and I've had some big weights of chub on the Y as well. Because they're talking about the Y Championships was cancelled last this Sunday, just gone, which is a shame really, because although I didn't get a ticket for it, they only allocated 100 pegs. But I've been runner-up in that twice. I had an 84 pound and an 82 pound and runner-up. So I never actually won that. So there. A good question. Thanks for asking. Let's have a look. Michael Newton, and your biggest winning in a match? Okay, my biggest win is financial-wise is probably the Sundridge Pole Championships, fished on the Regent's Canal, and I never forget because I got on that weekend. I had a great weekend. I won the Nance versus Wales, French versus Wales at Royal Park Lake, and then I fished the Regent's Canal. I was pegged by the zoo, and anyway, it was £2,000 for the winner, and I never forget John McCarthy, Johnny Mac. He was second. I beat him by not a great deal, but I had £2,000 and he had, what do you have, 60 quid, I think. So that was my biggest win, But I mean, things are relevant. I mean, in £2,000 35 years ago was probably worth 10 grand a day, I did have obviously I have this year 500 quid on the Evesham match, so, and 100 quid on the section. So it's all relevant now, isn't it, these days? But yeah, thanks for asking. Did they used to allow pike in the passing matches? Yes, they did, Michael. But like everything else, all open to cheating, then, isn't it? Because what happened, I remember on Evesham, Brian Bennett won a couple of matches and they had pike. And I never forget, we allowed pike once on the River Wye, and one guy, and it's great if you can hook a pike and land it, on fair means, on small tackle. Yeah, and I think maybe you should allow them. But anyway, this one guy, no names mentioned, Doug, I don't know if he's still around, but he won one match with three pike for 60 odd pound. Like, well, you're never going to catch that amount of fish, and it looks as though, who knows? He said he caught them fair means, like, but and that unfortunately that's went on, afterwards. So they ban him now. I remember fishing an Angling Times Winter League many years ago. Funny enough, I was down on a semi-final on the Kentish Stour, I think it was, and I had a pike on, and anyway, I was just about to land in. The guy said, "Oh," he said, "I don't." He said, "I wouldn't bother with that, mate." He said they don't count. Oh, I said, oh. Anyway, so I just yanked it off. After the match, I found out they did count. So I made a bit of a boo boo there, didn't I? Because they aren't easy to land those spikes because they're like once you've had the initial run, like you can normally get them in. But as I mentioned last week, it's a tug of war these days. You're trying to get your fish back to weigh it in. You don't want the pike on, do you? So whoever comes up first. Dave, hiya, mate. Where can I buy your ground bait from? Many thanks. All right. Well, to be honest, I had a couple of shops selling it, and I got an agent in the Midlands, Russell Millwall, who I fish with. Who I fish with in the teams of three, enough, on Saturday, and he's an agent. He sells it, but mainly it's online. You go to the website, and as long as you order a minimum of £20, it's free delivery. I mean, the delivery cost me £6 to £8, but there you are. Yeah, and I find this much easier. I cut out the middleman. And as I say, the only problem is I'm going away now shortly, so I won't be producing any ground bait for till I come back, which will be in the new year. Okay, so if you want any now, you better let me know. Okay, anyway, so coming back to a few other things, I just been making some floats as well, and I don't know if anyone ever seen these, but basically the shapes and the bodies, and these are the aerodynamics of pole floats, if you like, which we now use as river running pole floats. That's a standard one as used on like an Avon. That's a pair drop, and that's a reverse pair drop. That's for holding back, of course. We call them bolly floats now, don't we? Bolognese floats. That's a pair drop. That's more sensitive because of the nature of the taper. You slightly overshot that, and basically it's very sensitive, as you can imagine, because the shape of it, as it narrows up to the top, becomes more sensitive, and then you've got the standard Avon type, which in a way is better for trotting, and when you strike, it doesn't make the splash that one would. So each float's got its own. Anyway, the reason I mention this is just that somebody wants me to make a couple of floats for them, and as I said, because I'll be away shortly. Oh, here's one I made as well. Look at that. That's a big boy. That one, any. That's a it's not a crow quill. That's, I think, more like a swan quill on balsa, and I made like big Avon. I haven't used it yet. Might work. Who knows? But I like to experiment now and again, but not in matches. Okay. Right, Dave. Nick Sparks. Hi, mate. Who is your all-time favourite match fisherman? Oh, it's got to be Kevin Ashurst. Yeah. Oh, Kevin. He's. I mentioned last week. In fact, Kevin was years ahead of everyone else in his day, and obviously he still does a bit of fishing now. I've had a couple of messages off a couple of guys saying they're fishing with him. I think he's fishing the Weaver and one of the canals up there. So he's still around. But Kevin, in his day, was the best angler, in my opinion. You ask even likes of Bob Nudd, and who's probably the longest hero of them all. He's still going fishing. He would probably say Kevin it was his sort of bit of a mentor, like, because he used to fish with him. Learned a lot off Kevin. So did a lot of other anglers, and Kevin's a great guy, I just wish he would be a bit more active on a social media front. We'd all get to know him again. but really, truly, he was a master, brilliant. Um, I could talk about Kevin all day long because you've got an angler. Um, right, Michael, Clive, when you started fishing, how much was a pint of maggots? And what do you pay now? Well, that's a bone of contention, that, because maggots in our day, when I was young, they were quite plentiful and they were quite cheap. We used to breed a lot, our own. And I suppose, relatively speaking, when you pay these days, if you're paying more than £2.50 a pint, you're being robbed, by the way. Um, get a dealer that'll do it for 2.50. That's the average now. I mean, some guys I know are paying £3 a pint, but if you say you're going to get like half a gallon, and you want at least £2.50 a pint. Yeah, so but there's a lot of lads out where you bloody sponsored, and they get them half that again. But that's another story. It's all about quality. And I suppose if you look back, what they used to cost 50p, I don't know, or a pound a pint, something like that. But of course, it's all relevant in it. That I'm talking about 30, 40 years ago, this day and age. So £2.50 hasn't shot up that much, really, when you think about it. In fact, they're probably cheaper, as monetary value is concerned. So yeah. Harold Valentine, mate, ordered and received 2 bud floats from your Clive. I won't have 2 of them. Can't wait to use them on the Trent Shallows. Thanks, Clive. Oh, they're the bat floats, if I remember, Harold. Yes, yeah. In fact, I just made some Russell Eaton. Excuse me. He wanted about 20. I said, I can't do all them because I'm running out of material, because I let my stocks die down now before I go away. Anyway, he had 10 off me, and he's got to try them out. But yes, Harold, you'll find they'll catch when other floats won't. Simply by holding back. Use them. You can use them on a pole or rod line, whichever. Just get the balance right, or a little overshot in, and they're perfect. Okay. Anyway, let's get back to a few other bits and pieces. It's a special day today, by the way, lads. For me, it's my son's birthday. He's 21. He's in university at Oxford. All right with some. I wish I had his brains, but he's he doesn't want to celebrate it. But I also got a daughter in Thailand who's 2 today as well. So it's both their birthdays today. And I haven't seen the baby since she was born, which was 2 years ago. And as I said, I'm booked in to go back to Thailand on the 25th of this month. I'm still trying to get into the Thailand. It's called a pass, on the Thai government website. It's just overloaded at the moment because everyone's trying to get back. So I'll have another go probably tomorrow to try and get but I got everything else in order. I got my tickets ready to go. And as I said, when I'm over there, I'll do a few vlogs about Thailand fishing, match fishing, and do a few vlogs as well. Live ones as well. Got to get the timing right. That's the only trouble. So yeah, so it's a bit of a special birthday to them, a special day for me today. So yeah, Michael Newton, your opinion of women anglers? Some of them are quite good. I mean, as you know, I think the record salmon was held by a woman, still is. Huge fish, wasn't it? 64 pounds, I think. Yeah, but no, I think women are quite apt anglers. Obviously, some of them are physically. I mean, obviously, they're not going to be as good as men. I think, especially if you're bagging out big bags of fishing. But if you like the art of fishing, delicate fishing. In fact, I'll tell you, Tom Pickering's ex-wife, I think they're back together now. But she gave me a beating once next peg on the Welsh Raven. Yeah, everybody laughed and rubbed my face in it. But hey, some of the, they're pretty good. Some of those, some ladies. I always think they're built for pole fishing, because I remember we were watching I think it was a World Championships once, and there was a woman fishing one of the teams, and she had a pole, and she sort of brought it up, to hand, brought it up in the air, and she rested between a cleavage, and it was like a natural holding spot for the pole, and she had her hands free, and I thought, it's not going to move anywhere, is it? I thought, brilliant. And of course, she got no tackle down there to worry about, so it was all perfect, So yeah, I think women are built for fishing. Nice question, thanks. Richie Rich, £5 a pie for maggots, never. In a tackle and bait and neath. Oh, you're having a laugh. My dude, it's a bit out of the sticks down there, though, isn't it? Yeah. Michael Newton, Clive, my last question. Your biggest regret in angling? I got many regrets, mate. I've got some great memories, but my biggest regret, I suppose, when I got dropped from the Welsh team, that was my biggest regret. That I didn't, I fell out with the manager at the time, and I shouldn't have. I should have took it gracefully, even though I knew better than him. Then, and the regret is maybe not taking up the Welsh manager's job when it was presented to me. So, yeah. Hey, life's full of regrets. Let's not dwell on that. Of course, the other regret, I suppose, is missing. Well, it is a big regret. No, even to this day, is missing out on the tickets. Because I'll tell you what, some of these matches I fish, they're sellouts in no time at all. If you don't get on the list first, you don't get a ticket. So that's a big regret. No, I'm trying to keep on top of all that. But anyway, thanks for asking that one. James Flynn, hi mate. Evening, how are you? Good. Harold. Yes, she was a battle team, Clive. 64 pound in 1924. Oh, well done. I don't know. Yeah, that long ago. Yeah, still held to this day. Stephen Collins, how are you, mate? Hope you're well. And Dave Hinton. Hiya, mate. David Hinton. Oh, yeah. Okay, nice to see you. Right. Okay. Well, as I say, that's a special day, and I just got to make just one amend from last week. Barnsley was second in the World Club. The Barnsley Blacks, not first. I was one of the viewers told me that, so probably didn't read it right when I first, but I seen it with the trophy, and I thought, well, they done well, so that was brilliant. Okay. Right, I got let's have a look. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, one thing I got to mention. I did mention last week, especially people on Facebook, okay, and social media. Be careful now. You know what it's like if somebody sends you a message from a friend and they say, "Hi, I think it's you're on this video." Well, you're intrigued, aren't you? You want to find out. And what's happening? Now, I know it's a scam because I said I've been on the internet since 1991, I think it is, when my brother, became the first internet provider in Wales. Anyway, basically, what they're doing, they're trying to get your password off you. What you have to do, you follow the link, and it goes on to another page saying, "Oh, you have to log in to see your video." Supposedly, and what you do, you put your personal information in, and bang, they got you. They then take over. They hack all your friends and say, do the same to them or other things. And a couple of very good friends of mine, this week has been done. And now I'm getting a message off them. And I said, I wish you'd listened to me last week, listen to my vlog, and I would have told you, But so lads, don't click on don't give your password away to log back into Facebook, because it should have remembered it automatically. Okay, so that's just yeah. Right, talk about Facebook. My match fishing page. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe. There's over 26, nearly 27,000 now. So members on there. I've also got a couple of other pages. I got match fishing calendar, which is about matches coming up. And also reports are about catches. I haven't concentrated on them, but they're there if you want to put any reports up, anything you caught, and also on the match calendar you can catch up on any matches. Because do you remember the old angling times and the Mail? They used to have open matches coming up on the weekend, and that you don't get it so much these days. As you see, everything's going social media, just like this here. We're live, we're on social media, and I'm chatting away, and it's great in a way, isn't it? I do miss buying the old Angling Times and Mail at the end of the week and that, but as I say, the Mail's gone now, and 20 of the Times left. So but social media's taken over everything now, isn't it? Okay, let's have a look. I do sort that until Russell. I got Russell. You should get Russell to do your daily booking. Yeah, I should do. Yeah, I do need a manager half the time. because you do forget. Uh, Michael Hinton, Clive, on your demise, what will happen to all your fishing tackle? Sure, it's a good question that because back last year I was with a friend of mine, Jan, and we 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 discussed that because we started selling. We used to buy fishing and tackle second hand and selling it on. It was a nightmare, honestly. It's hard work, but anyway, we did buy job lots of a couple of people off their wives or and their girlfriends, or in one case the daughter, and they didn't have a clue how much to tackle, uh, uh, what it was worth. Well, me being honest, we had to give him an honest price, but I'm sure some devious person would have come along and said it was worthless and give him next to nothing. So that's a very good question, that. And any guys who I know, we always tell our other apples, so, we bought a rod, it's only, a couple of quid and the real, but in real truth, like, if they knew, they'd have a fit, wouldn't they? But I think, you want to bear that in mind, everyone, when it comes to the day of the reckoning, and you got your tackle. A good friend of mine I mentioned last week passed away, and fortunate his wife got hold of one of the anglers who actually priced it, and but even then I think he sold tackle a bit cheaper than he should have. But yeah, so bear that in mind, lads. If anything did happen to you, you put your tackle, the true worth of it. Let someone in the within the family rule know, or an angler who you close friends with, because I'm sure your family would want to get the best money on your tackle. Okay, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with mine yet. Probably I don't know, same old ways as most of them bloody give way half of it. But I'm not a tackle tart, and I don't keep up the trends. I buy a good rod and a good reel, and it's the end bit is my passion, making sure you got good line, good hooks, and the shotting patterns and the feeding, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day, you know. Um, okay, Kevin Rogers, Clive, if you could have your angling career again, is there anything you would change? Yes and no, Kevin. I would probably, I like natural fishing. I prefer it, I like the rivers, the lakes, and that. If I had my time again, maybe I would have concentrated a bit more on commercials and had a chance and a go, especially the big money prizes out there, you know, 50 grand, 100 grand the other week, weren't they? So yeah. James Bauer, hi mate. Have you watched John Arthur's latest vlog from the Thames Festival? The pike trouble he has was unbelievable. Over 20 attacks at least. You're not the only one. Oh yeah, well, yeah. Funny enough, I know John because I've had a chat now. I was fishing in the same section on the Riverfest on the Thames this year, um, which I beat him, by the way. No, but that's besides the point. He beat my houses, but yeah. Apparently, he had pike attacks then, and yeah, I'll try and catch up on that one. He's got a big following. I said to him, I said, I'll get 3 or 4 thousand maybe, and he gets like 12,000. That's because he does commercial, by the way. Yeah, I think he gets a lot of commercial followers. So yeah, no, I'll try and catch up on that, James. Stephen Codd, do you think in winter red maggots better in winter than whites? I take both, but definitely see a bias towards reds in winter. Okay. Well, it's interesting you should say that, Stephen, because I mentioned this on Saturday with um, my mate Russell said to me, "Do you want bait for Saturday?" I said, "Yeah." Said me getting it. I said, "Yeah." And then when he turned up, we turned up with white maggots. Well, the last time I fished white maggots was like 20 years ago. I always fish reds, winter or summer or any time. And the reason being, I think I've mentioned it before, red is more natural. You can, and scientists have proved that in the depth of water on the spectrum, red is the last color visible. All the others will disappear. But I tried to experiment many years ago. I put it when I say experiment, we used to fish what we call flags, red and white maggots. And most of the time, if I missed a bite, I'd come back and the red maggot would always be sucked. So that told me that they had a preference for red. And and then when I went to Ireland, they all use reds, and you try, you always get beat by anglers fishing reds. And then, in the World Championships, they're using reds. And if you look at bloodworm, the color of, which is natural bait, joker, red worm, they're all red. So my preference is red, and it does make a difference. Mark my word on that. Okay, winter or summer doesn't matter. Michael Hinton, last question: Have you ever done any specimen hunting? Do you know I haven't? I don't suppose I have really. No. I think as a youngster, we might have experimented, maybe trying to catch a pike and a big chub, with cheese paste and that sort of thing. But I haven't, it's something that never get the time, to be honest. I suppose if ever I retire from match fishing, perhaps that's what I would do, you know. Oh, Paul Jackson, watching your recent Bewley tip meat fishing. Do you hair rig or just hook the meat? Your thoughts on using hair rigs and open hook. Right, Paul, I'll talk about that in a minute when I get round to discussing my vlog, because I wanted to tell you my theory on eel fishing. Okay, as far as hair rigging is concerned, yes, hair rigs does work because it's easier for the fish to basically suck in the bait, basically and hook themselves, because that's how hair rigs work. The fish hook themselves, So yeah, I'll talk about that in a minute. Steve Jackson, hi Clive. We have the Thai wife, and my friend who owns a fishery in Pattaya called Darth. Okay. Right. Do you know, I'm not sure which fishery that is, but I'll tell you a little story, Steve. When I went to Thailand, I went for a holiday about 5-6 years ago, I think, with my brothers, and went there just for a holiday. Anyway, went for a month. Well, after the first week, you're getting drunk every night. You're seeing all the sights, and in the end, I got a bit bored of that. So I thought, I wonder if there's any fishing around. So then I seen a little sign saying, "Come and fish here, castaways." And I went there, and there was a guy named John Harvey, and John Harvey knew me through his dad. Well, he remembers me, and his dad I used to fish against down on the Somerset and Edsborough. Well, John was running this fishery called Castaways. So he hadn't had any match fishing he'd been over there 14 years, no match fishing at all. And anyway, I said, well, let's have a match, like we're head to head. So we went to a place called Will's Fishery. We enjoyed it. Then he got a couple of other people. Then on his venue, which is a specimen venue, we had a match on a Saturday when it was closed, and we had half a dozen turn up. And we were great. Anyway, in the end, we ended up with a little match circuit. There was like a dozen or 10 people, turning up, or even more sometimes, and only a couple of bat, and we were having great matches. And then when I left, they kept it going for a while, and then of course I got to know Billy Makin over there as well, and Billy came to watch me on 1 or 2 matches, and then but he wasn't interested. But now I found out he's fishing. He's over there. So I'm looking forward when I go over there to start the matches up again. They're still having a little knockouts, I think, but not as many as they did when I was there. So yeah, that's a nice one. That okay, but I'll have to find out that one. That tab is called, is it? Okay, I'll have to ask John when I see him. And Dennis Dixon is another one over there as well. So, Neil Smith, do you ever fish any festivals in Ireland now? Do you know what? About 2-3 years ago, I think it was, I went back to Thailand, first time in 20 odd years. I went with a mate of mine, Jan, and I was telling him how I used to love going to Ireland, because I went there every year for about 18 years to the festivals, and I used to say how we used to enjoy ourselves, great crack, as they used to call it. And I was the first time back, and I was so disappointed. Nothing was the same. They didn't have the evenings. This is before COVID. They didn't have any evening get-togethers and fun and joke and and talking about fishing. None of that was around. So that was the last time. Perhaps it's a bit different now. Neil, maybe I may go back again. We'll see. Okay, Kevin. Do you ever use cheese or cheese paste? Not in matches. We used to try it years ago, cheese. In fact, Russell, in the tea match, fished cheese paste. I said, get on the meat. I said, get those bloody eels. But you had to go on the cheese paste. So I don't know. No, I don't think I wouldn't use a cheese paste in the match. Um, if I remember somebody come up with the idea of macaroni once on the commercials, and that seemed to work. But no. Oh, he owns Castaways, does he? Oh, that's what it's called. Yeah. Oh, that. Yeah. Well, I know Castaways well because that's what I used to. Oh, it's Peter Tabner. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. Well, we used to like Saturday and Sunday for John used to. If I remember, I don't know if he's the guy you went in partnership with. He sold half his shares, and then John uh, sold them all. I think in the end. So maybe that was it. But we used to. John loves his match fishing. I can't tell you this. He's probably not. But I remember we fished a match 1-to-1, and we were doing a count. We were, and no, he's a kiddie over there. I mean, he holds the world carp record. What was it? 400 pound, 430 pound. But anyway, we're having this match. We were catching tilapias one by one, and we were counting them. Well, I was like about 10 in front of him, and then he went in front of me, and I looked around, and he had a fish on, and it dropped off, and he was stamping his feet. I said, I got him. And it was about 5 minutes to go, and the bloody Will put the aerator on. The water started moving around, and he knew about this, and he went straight on the feed and caught 2 carp and done me. But it's great fun, good fun. Yeah, he is. Yeah. Michael, Clive, what's your favorite angling TV program? Okay. Well, I suppose, I used to like John Wilson because he had that laugh about him, didn't he? I used to watch. I used to love the Bruno Brooks. When Keith Arthur, obviously, he was on it. That was good. But I suppose my favourite is Jack Hargreaves. I love listening and watching his, whenever they come on. I watch the ones now. It's mainly all carp now, isn't it? But yeah, old Jack Hargreaves. I don't remember them. Okay. Yeah, so as I said, if you want to go onto the Facebook and you want to join those pages, it'd be great. Right, I'll get back to the 7. Right. Right. A couple of little comments. First of all, I'd like to thank him and address them because it's nice for people to leave comments and leave a thumbs up because apparently it's all to do with algorithms. The more I get, the higher I go in the search engine. So if any lads, if you ever watch my blogs, give me a thumbs up and and obviously a little comment. Paul Chapman, Rivers. Right. Now, let me tell you a little bit about the 7 first because I had the call off Russell. I said, can we go and fish the teams of 3? Well, our team of 3, which is me, Russell Millwald, and Mark Woolam. And the first time we ever fished in a teams of 3 was a big Midland match. It was for prostate cancer. It was run by Jim Burton. Anyway, we actually won it, and then we come third. There's another team of 3 down on the Twinning on the Lower Avon, and then anyway, we decided to try and fish this, and it's a bit of a long journey for me, to be honest. Like 2-hour run up there, but I thought I'd do it for Russell, and anyway, Mark, and as it happened, we come joint winners on the day, and we lost out on weight. And if you see my blog, you see where I lost an eel. That cost us first place. You whether you lose a fish, you think, I hope that hasn't cost me. It bloody did. Bloody charming. Anyway, but yes, as I say, it was a little bit of a learning curve on that, because when I say learning curve, the river was coming up, and I had all sorts of ideas in my head. The roach might feed, the bleak might feed, and barber might feed, and all this. And when I drew that peg 58, which is not a bad peg apparently, but it was no slack. It was pushing through, and I'm thinking, oh, what can I do? And as I mentioned, I had won matches on the Y many years ago, fishing the meat, and I still like fishing the meat because the meat is I don't know what it is about luncheon meat, but it must be the smell in the water, and it's quite fatty, and the fish do find it, So it is a good floodwater bait. Anyway. So I fished this punch bread, as mentioned, and I didn't use a hair rig. The reason is, I'll tell you why, because I think you want I think you want direct contact, especially when it comes to eel fishing. Okay, because if you've ever fished for eels, you know what I mean. You'll get these bites, don't you? And your tip will go round and you go like that, and there's nothing there, right? Well, let me tell you. When I was in my tropical fish days, when I used to run the when I used to own a tropical fish shop, I used to import fish, and I also had a big, huge 8-foot tank, massive thing. I used to keep coarse fish in there, and I had some eels in there, and I never forget. And I remember dropping maggots in. Now, this might surprise a few people, but when you hook eels, a lot of them are always down there. But how many times have you fishing with eels and you can't hit them? Well, this is a surprising thing. I noticed they're like birds. They got like a beak, and they, not like a mouth and teeth like fish. And what they do, they actually gather maggots in their mouth without swallowing them. They'll pick up one or two before swallowing, or go away and swallow. And they usually retrieve back into the little hole and that. And that's what happens. So when you sometimes you fishing for eels and you get a bite and it goes and it's nothing there, it's because it's still in their mouth and you're pulling out of their mouth. Anyway, well, when I fish the meat, obviously I push the meat into little barrel shapes, meat punch, and every eel I hooked was in the mouth on Saturday. And the reason I dropped that one off is obviously I didn't quite hook it properly in the mouth, in the lip, like. So there's a little tip for guys who wondering why they can't hit fish, when they're fishing with eels, is because they're gathering it in their mouth. But obviously when they do swallow it, it goes right down because they got no teeth to chew it on, so they have to gulp it down. And now I want to answer a question in a minute, because somebody did make a remark about why didn't I fish the lobworm for them. Well, obviously, the thing is, I don't know. I had the feeling because the water came up overnight suddenly, and the temperature dropped quite a bit. I thought the chub and babble might not feed. If anything was going to feed, it was going to be, obviously, the odd babble. I think there was only a couple caught on the Saturday anyway. But eels was obviously a target fish, and that's the way that I fished, for the eels. And I managed to say get a 4 pound, well, with a nice roach as well. But anyway, so I want to just answer a couple of questions. Right. Paul Chapman, he said, rivers are the most challenging, and well done, Clive, on a tough day, but a few big lobbies would have helped, I bet. No, that's it was you, Paul, on it. Lobby is a great bait, and I remember catching chub on winning a match on the Welsh Raven once with lobbies, and they work well on the Y, and they do catch eels, but but again, you miss a lot of bites. You will miss eel bites because a lobworm, I mean, they gather in their mouth, and not necessarily have the hook in the eel's mouth. You've got to wait for them to digest it, before you can actually hook them. So that's why, if you notice, if you ever fish for lobbies for worm, obviously chub will take you straight down, and a barbel will as well. But that's a good question, Paul. And yeah, perhaps a lob, might be worth I had some with me and I didn't use him because I was concentrating. It's like somebody trying to concentrate. Right, Sean Tracy. Well done, Clive. A great result on such a tough day. Yeah, it was. I think what I come in the section. I think I had 12 points out of 16, so it was about fourth or fifth, was it? So I wasn't bad, because bear in mind there's some really good pegs above me as well. And by the way, 1 ounce and just 1 ounce separate us between winning, outright, instead of joint winners. And we lost on the weight. Neil Smith, well done, Clive. In not so good conditions. Thank you for that. Oh, Derek, Devonshire. Hope you're on you today. I don't know if you know me. Should be messing with the camera when you had that bite. Yeah, that's the problem. I like making the vlogs, as I said, save me writing about them. And trouble is, sometimes you try to concentrate doing the filming, you know. And then sometimes things like that happen because I went through a bit of a quiet patch. It must have gone like a half hour without nothing happening. I thought, oh, I'll talk to the camera, tell you what's happening. Whoop, next thing I got a bloody. And I had him on, I put the camera down, and and he bloody came off. Who knows? I may have lost it anyway. But yes, nice one. James Lynn, perseverance paid off. Well done, Clive. Well, yeah, no, that's the other thing I got to mention because, you've got to persevere sometimes. You've got to, get something in your mind and your plan. You've got to keep it going. And then if it comes right, which it did, and have confidence. And that's the main thing. And that's what it was about. I could have tried other things. I could have, but I thought, well, I'd done my bit for the team. I had a couple of fish in the net, a couple of bleak and a gudgeon. And then I had that roach. And so really, it was perseverance. And at the end of the day, those eels were coming. So yeah. Oh, Rusty Graves. This comment was made into right. The cables on the coloured river sit out on a lump of meat. Oh yeah, what he mentioned is that I did mention it in the vlog before I actually done it. So yes, that's true. Shabaranks. Oh, is that part of someone's house opposite your peg? If so, what have you? Yeah, it would have been great if it was a house, but it wasn't. I think it's like some sort of station, for the electrics or whatever. But yeah, it would have been a great. Yeah. So thanks for the comments on that, lads. As I said, it's great for you to make comments on my vlogs, and it doesn't matter, how trivial it is, but it's nice. At least I can talk about it afterwards. Let's answer a couple of questions anyway. Right, Michael Newton, Clive. Have you ever been refused entry to a match because of your reputation success? I tell you what, Michael, it makes you bloody wonder sometimes. Years ago, I didn't. Yeah, no, I tell you what. I was known that people would get me in, if I late or whatever, but not these days. I don't get no special treatments anymore. In fact, I'm sure one or two, no names mentioned or venues, but I had, it was like as if I could get a ticket. But I'm not saying any more on that. But thanks for asking about that. Right, Stephen Collins, have you ever fished the swing tip in a match? Seems I've forgotten that. Yes, it is, Stephen. Yeah, we used to fish Ponstickle, which is a deep reservoir, and it was great because we'd, obviously it was deep water, and you with deep water, what happens? You can imagine as the bait goes in, and you get like a bow in the line, and then eventually that bow sinks. Well, your tip will be up like that. And then you got to retrieve it, and then as it's up, you got to retrieve it so it drops. And if you watch that tip as it goes down and it stops, it's a bite. You got to be very wary of that. And yeah, but great method. I remember fishing the unspill once. When you get a bit of tow on it, it's a bit awkward because it pulls it up. But on some of the still water, yeah, it's a great method. Yeah, but of course, in them days, bear in mind we didn't have those fine tips for feeder fishing like we have today. We used to make our own, if you remember, like donkey tips. You have to sand it down and make it real soft. So yeah, but no, yeah, it's great. I love watching your swing tip. Yeah, I put a little picture up actually on Facebook. I said, does anyone know what these are? Somebody said, is that your waggler stuck to the top of your rod? I thought, yeah, no, but no, it was great. Yeah, good old days. Those Volviva Max on it, and I like the ads. And I forget they used to fish it. Come down the Hudsville once, they all fished them, and I think they won the national today. I know they done well anyway. Right. Stephen Jackson, I am a regular watcher. Oh, and I used to fish matches on the Trent and Severn. Okay. I know we don't have as many club matches as we used to. Have you any idea why not? Do you know, the thing is, Steve, over the years, commercial has become very popular now, and I think um, there's been less natural uh, venue matches, although it's made a comeback in the last year or two. I think the club they still go in these clubs, but they're usually small things, aren't they? Maybe a dozen anglers or so, which is great. If that's what you want to do, and but I think the emphasis is more on opens and. I don't know. Maybe it's a decline of anglers. I think generally, you don't get as many now, do you? Taking the sport up anymore. Maybe the clubs haven't got the amount of anglers. Don't know. Maybe somebody else might have an angle on that. I don't know. I'm not sure about that. Andrew Gard, he thinks that poor Talbot should have been called off Saturday. Yeah, people's bows broke. Yeah, keep the nets broke. Yeah, I lost my key. Well, let me talk about the Sunday match. As you also, if you saw it, what a what a match! I mean, it started off not too bad. Obviously we were at the draw, we were out of the wind, but as soon as we got down, you felt that wind. Now apparently it was 50 miles an hour wind there, and it's just really, how it went on, I don't know. But as anglers, when we're there, we're not going to say no. We still want to fish it, don't we? But I tell you, the waves were bloody. I was like just on the water's level, and the waves that hit me in the face. It was that strong, and I bloody tip broke of my rod. The top part, the keep net come off. Oh, it was a bit of a nightmare. But anyway. Paul Chapman mentioned that wind broke my keep net. Oh, yeah. Paul Chapman said the wind broke his net once, and now it's in the shed. I haven't got that luxury, unfortunately, Paul. I got to try and fix mine if I can. Still smiling, that Clive. Yeah. What tablets am I on? Well, I don't know. You just enjoy your life and you enjoy your fishing. If it was, we wouldn't go if it was made us miserable, would it? We just got to keep going. Spencer Manton, fair play to you all. Should have took your surfboard instead. The punch flow set off you were a spot. All right, thanks, Spencer, for that. Couple of this. Let's have a look. Yeah. Who's that? Maxine Smythe said, "You deserve a medal as big as a frying pan for fishing that." Yeah, I know. I tell you what, a few of the lads. You see, in hindsight, people said, "Oh, we should have called her off," and that. But well, as you say, when you're there, you've got to fish it, haven't you? It could have been a bit dangerous, I suppose, but there's a few like belts there and that. So, if anyone had fallen, the other angler would have helped them anyway. Barry Millward, bloody hell, Clive, more like fishing the North Sea. Yeah, it was. God, it's like this. In fact, one wave hit all my bait off. Good job I kept some bait up the bank. Otherwise, I would have had no bait to fish with. I like this one off James King. I don't know if you're watching, mate, but I hope you are. He says, I hope he hopes he's still able and mad enough to go fishing at 70, which is my age. And yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, but I think you all got to be a bit mad sometimes. But as long as you enjoy it, that's the main thing. Right, Andrew, good. Where have all the skimmers gone? Well, I don't know. They're still there. I think they've got a lot of pike problem now. We still get good weights, and the pike are taking a fair share of the fish we catch, but they're still there. That match Sunday, as I said, all the weights come at one end, up in a slightly shallower water, and I don't know whether the wind disturbed it, coloured the water up, but I think the fish sort of were up there, and that's where all the weights, the skimmers were. At my end, it was mainly all roach, so yeah. And then Dave Barrett, nice one, mate, said, "Looked like a pleasant day, if you like the wind." And John, that's my hate, to be honest, is the wind. That's one of my biggest hates in fishing, because, with the wind blowing, you're trying to catch the float in midair, and you're trying to, that's my pet hate. I can put up with the wind, and I can put up with the wind if it was a low wind, but when it's a high wind, it's, it's like same with rain and same with the cold, isn't it? Anyway, oh, Stephen Peters, hiya mate. You just joined us. Have you? Okay. Well, as I said before, it's just it's all about these vlogs on a Mondays. People. I've had about 80, I think, watch it tonight. So, but during the week, more people will catch up on it, and like I think I did over 800 last week. So they're worth doing because it's nice to listen in, and you can pick up little snippets, and it's nice to say hello to people, and I'm glad I got a little bit of a following, so it's great. That reminds me to see this here. Bottle of port. When I became world champion, right, back in 1989, 87, sorry, the local anglers said, because I wanted to make a holiday instead of coming back basking in the glory, I thought I'd stay there for a week, and we got very friendly with the Portuguese guys, and we went around the brewery. They'd done a tour of the brewery, and I ended up giving me genuine bottles of port, straight from the actual breweries. We went trip to the breweries, and anyway, I think I must have had about 20 bottles, and I had them in my case, and I brought them back through customs. I got them through okay. And of course, I give a few away, kept a few, and they all went eventually. And I gave one to my parents, my dad, and I still got his thing on it. It's dated. God, I don't know how old it is. Pretty old. It was 20 years old when I gave it to him, and that was 35, about 50, 60 years old this now. And anyway, I gave it to my old man, and sadly he's passed away, and then my mother passed away, and it was there, and I brought it back, and I haven't opened it because of sentimental value. Not only winning the world champs with it, but giving it to my parents, and they didn't open it; they kept it as a souvenir. So there you are, genuine bottle of port. Yeah, it's pretty old that now. Okay. Right. Oh, right. Neil Smith, what matches are we going to fish this week? Well, I've got the Y coming up next Sunday, the next round of the Winter League. That'll be good. We got Paul Pick. He's a class angler. He's a former Riverfest champion and white champion. He's fishing for us, so we'll strengthen that team a bit. I think he fishes for Dorking. He would have fished the other matches, but they clash for the cut matches, so it'd be nice. So hopefully we should have got a pretty good team. So, but I'm looking forward to it because I've been told that the bleaker is still there, but the more roach have moved in and dace have moved in, so it'll be a good match. If the conditions are right, hopefully the bread and the jublets will go as well. So yeah, so that'll be my next vlog next Sunday. I'm not sure about going in the week because I got a lot of preparing to do to go to Thailand, to be honest with you. So if I do, I will make a vlog and let you know. But thanks for asking. Andrew Gard, Clive, why are the white champs limited to 100? And they could probably got 200 for people to fish it. Do you know, a couple of lads have said that. The man on form, Mr. Agent Whittle, I call him H. He didn't get a ticket. He didn't get in, and there's a few others I know. And I know I speak to Dave Robertson, and unfortunately, I think they've got their reasons. Maybe COVID is a good reason. Maybe they don't want that many anglers. Maybe it's they haven't got the stewards to maybe run it, and they've lost a bit of water at Carrots this year. But I mean, they got plenty of other waters. I'm sure they can get 200 pegs on it. But I think it's all political at the moment. To be honest, I think anyway. It's just a shame because it's been going 60 years now, and I've fished every one for 40 years. Since I was a teenager, 40 years, and this is the first year I couldn't get a ticket. I mean, fair dues to John. I mean, last year he put extra pegs in, and I got in, but yeah, don't know. Shame about that, as I say. But as I mentioned early on, these days you got to be on the ball to get tickets, haven't you? Owen Palmer, hi mate. When fishing on the feeder close in, do you ever cast upstream? Well, I wrote an article many years ago about up, 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 upcast feeding. Is that what you call it? And the reason is to get to hold the bottom. And I'll tell you a story, and people will know this. I know I like to like not boast, but I like to think I was an innovator of tackle and methods. Well, this I right. This is a true story. When I was a youngster, I went to with the local tackle shop. He had a boat down in the Bristol Channel, and the flow on it, at high tide and low tide, it was horrendous. Anyway, I was fishing with the lads, and I went out on the boat. And I only went, I think it was the first time I went there, and they were casting their leads, right, like pound leads, really heavy leads. But this flow, as you can imagine, it was woof, it was pelted. But what they were doing, they were uptide casting. I said, "What's that?" And they explained to me, uptide casting. So you cast it up to a tide, and you put a bow in a line, and you can hold the bottom. And I thought, I wonder if that would work on a river. Fish a river with a feeder, sort of slightly upstream, and put a bow in it so it would hold it. Anyway, we experimented on it, and it worked. Worked a dream. It worked a dream. In fact, I remember doing it, winning a match, and I thought this is going to be a great method. We even we expanded on that. We start using fluorescent line because sometimes you get bloody boats coming along, and if they see the fluorescent line, they'll try to avoid you. So that's another little innovation we thought of at the time. But anyway, this I wrote an article about it. Anyway, years afterwards, people used to write about it. I don't know. People forgot that I was the first one to ever do it. But anyway, yeah, I do it, mate. Yeah, it works. Where you put a bow in the line, you can get away with a lighter feeder, of course, lighter leads, and so on. Yeah, I remember we even tried the breakaway leads as well. Like you would at sea fishing, 4-ounce leads, and that worked. But yeah, so yeah, up tide or up. Yeah, it's not way up, but just enough to get the bow in the line. Because if you cast it downstream, you can still put a bow in the line, but you're better off doing it either directly in front of you or just slightly upstream and get that bow in the line, and then you can hold the bottom with a lighter lead. And of course, you just watch for the drop back bites where the fish hook themselves anyway, and that's where hair rigs come into it, by the way. But yeah, nice one that. Okay, Dave, is there a way? It's on a wide that is short walk from car. Would recommend as disabled. Dave, it's a shame really because Belmont, would have been ideal with as the car park in it, which when they allowed it, it was only a short walk, and they got stages as well. Down by the tennis courts, there is a disabled area. You'd have to walk park and just a short walk. But the banks are not all that clever. Although there is below the Vauxhall Bridge, there's a disabled area. Apart from that, that's the trouble. Is the Wye is a natural wild river, and they don't really cater for disabled. Really, I'm sure there's going to be other areas along the Wye that probably do cater for it. Something you'll have to try and find out, Dave. I can't really help you much from that, really. As I say, apart from maybe Belmont, area, which is a thing. Anyway, sorry about that, mate. Okay, lads, I've been on here an hour again. As I said, I'm trying to keep it within an hour. I don't want to, bore you all, and there's any more questions. But as I say, I hope you all enjoyed it. There is one thing I just want to bring up, by the way. Thanks to all the ones who signed that petition regarding the sewerage going into the water. We did manage to get our 100,000 signatures, and it did go. Unfortunately, went to Parliament for discussion, and it just got thrown out. I'm not political in any way. It don't matter which government gets in. They're only at the end of the day, I think they're only lining their own pockets. But anyway, but it's a shame that that they're still allowing sewerage in the water, which is going to affect the fish. I know when it's like this, when there's lots of water about, perhaps it don't matter so much. But when they're doing it and the waters are low, then a lot of these rivers get polluted and stinking. They did say, as I say, it's been on television, haven't it, lately, especially in our area, about the River Wye and the sewerage. But when you go and see these record weights of fish coming out, at Belmont, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? But there are. It's a shame that all we can do is just keep on hoping and battling, and let's hope it gets a second review. Really, if there's enough people, who fight this sewerage, raw sewerage going into the waters, and maybe one day we'll get our way. Okay, Dave, that's all right, mate. Okay, lads. Right, no more questions. Hope you sort of enjoyed and picked up some little bits, like as I said, regarding that. Don't get these plummets. Cheap as chips. Always worth having a couple of. All it is a little bit of lead, flat lead. Just wrap it around some sponge. So that's it. I say, don't forget slammers, everyone. Make sure you got one of them in your box. Deep throat unhooking. Okay. Cheers, Gary. Hope you enjoyed that. Thanks, mate. Andrew Gard, next time, tight lines. Yeah. Okay. Hope to see you soon. And as I said, I'll make another vlog next Sunday, and let's see what happens. And happy birthday to the kids, Clive. Love you. Cheers, Paul. Yeah, thanks, mate. I'm hoping to see him now, as I say, on the 25th. I'll try and keep in touch if I can, with vlogs and all that, and keep you informed, and hopefully try and see a few matches over there, Thai style. Okay, cheers, Stephen. Okay, lads, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time, hopefully. And don't forget, you can leave any more answers and questions. I'll try to answer them, during the week below on the blog. Okay, thanks, then. See you later.